Today, we're going to talk about 3 scales that really helped me in my playing. These 3 scales are all based on the nature of the tuning of the guitar. So you need a guitar that is tuned in standard tuning, a 6-string guitar. But if you know these 3 scales, they are going to be the canvas, the alphabet that we're going to use to craft and discover some new things in your playing. This is the type of exercise that is done with your guitar, nothing else. That's all you need. So if you have your guitar with you, we're going to get started right after this. Hi, my name is David Wallerman. Welcome to this channel, which is all about helping guitar players around the world find their unique voice and develop that voice so that you can tell your own story on this guitar. And these 3 scales that I mentioned in the intro are so valuable to do that. I said in the intro that they are based on the tuning of the guitar. The guitar has a lot of notes that are part of these 3 scales when you're just strumming your guitar open string like that. We're going to focus on 4 of these open strings. The low E string and the high E string, those are E's. Okay, that's going to be the magnet that attracts everything else you play. If you have a magnet and you play something, that something becomes what it is because it is attracted to that. A note by itself is just a note, but if a note is played and according to something else, that note can become a lot of different things. Well, that note is always going to become something according to that low E string or high E string. Those are E's, those are the magnets, so those are the roots. Someone's texting me. Yeah, the root. I said the root, right? I don't know who that was. That's not what they said. It's probably my wife. All right. So we've got E. Then we have the 3rd string open, which is a minor 3rd. That minor 3rd is common to the 3 scales we're going to talk about. And then on the 2nd string open, we have a 5th. And these 3 scales that I'm going to talk to you about have a 5th, also a perfect 5th. So we have 3 notes here: the root, the minor 3rd, and the 5th. Which scales have a root, minor 3rd, and 5th? Well, a lot of them, but the ones that we're going to focus on are the most commonly used ones: Dorian, Aeolian, and Phrygian, in no particular order. And these really need to be seen as unique and individual scales, not part of a major scale, not as a degree of an Ionian mode. None of that. These are unique and individual scales that have their own flavor, their own personality. They're going to bring out different intervals, therefore different emotions in your playing. Okay, so the exercise here, this is really a personal development exercise, is to look at your fretboard. For that, I have a visual aid that you can download for free. If you look at the first line in the description of this video, you can click that link. You can actually pause this video and do it right now and go download the charts that are going to be very helpful after watching this video to continue progressing. It's free. I just need an email and I'll be sending you those. But these scales are mapped out on the whole fretboard, the full fretboard. Because these scales have in common the roots, the 5th, and the minor 3rd, that means that at any given point when you're playing something within those scales, you can inject into your playing one of these 4 open strings: the 6th, the 3rd, the 2nd, and the 1st string, because they're part of those scales. And then your job is to just search around, looking at that full fretboard. We're not thinking in terms of chords or intervals. We're just going shape-based here, and we're trying to find some chords that would fit that. Now, the only rule that I'm going to suggest is to find chords that are in a contained area of the fretboard. In other words, you're going to try to do something like, whoop, the switch didn't work. There we go, right here. You're going to try to, if we're in Dorian, for example, you're going to try to find a chord using maybe I'll use this, these notes right here, which are part of the Dorian mode if you look at the full chart. From the low E string to the high E string, I have fret 10, 12, 12, 11, for example. Well, I could play these, and I know that I can inject some open strings, so I can inject the 2nd and the 3rd string open. That will sound great, I think. And I can even, if I want, remove that middle finger because the 3rd string is also open. Do you like this sound? you do, that's something that you can use. If you don't, maybe try to alter one of the notes. Maybe add that middle finger. Whatever you want to do. And then eventually you'll start developing some areas of the fretboard that sound really good to you, that you like. Just looking at that full fretboard and adding some of these open strings when you can. You don't need many shapes, you just need a few. And that, my friends, will really help you develop an ear for these different things. Just remember, keep things contained. Inject every once in a while maybe some melodic ideas, some licks. Only a few notes are enough. What am I doing here? I'll show you this one, for example. That is part of, if I look at the full Dorian mode, this is what I have. That musical statement will work. I am starting on the 3rd string, frets 7, 9. On the 2nd string, I have fret number 8. And then I'm finishing with the 1st string, fret number 10. Okay, that works. Now, there are no open strings in there. That's okay, I can play this one, right? Then I can play this chord, which is also part of that Dorian mode. I'll show you this one. This one is kind of based on a typical open G chord, but I've got my middle finger on the G, 6th string, 3rd fret. Then I'm going to skip the 5th string to the 4th open. Then I'm going to add my index finger on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. And then I'm going to leave that 2nd string that I'm grabbing with my pinky open. Maybe I can even do something like this. See, I approach this note on the 3rd string by adding to that an open string. And then you just search around. Here's that lick. And so forth. The beauty of this is that not only are you developing new zones of the fretboard to work with, but you're also developing an ear for these 3 very important scales, modes, alphabets, like I like to call them, Dorian, Phrygian, and Aeolian. Your ear, if you spend 10 minutes in one of these scales that is charted out for you, the link is below, then you're going to start to hear some things. And if you hit a note that is not part of the musical alphabet you're using, your ear will tell you. And that's a good sign. When you're hitting a note that should not be there and your ear tells you, that should not be there, don't feel bad about that. Feel good about it, because you are developing your ear and your ear is becoming your guide, which really should. Your fingers shouldn't be your guide. Your ear should be directing your fingers. Really important to have that. That's the idea I have for you today. Not many licks, not many play this in that lesson, well, none of my lessons really, but I hope this sparks the idea. And I truly hope that you download the charts below and you spend time with these scales, because they really have helped me. The last year or so, I've kind of forced myself, whenever I do a video, to start with an unplanned playing using these 3 scales, that concept. And if I look back at the very first ones that I've done a year or 2 ago, the intros, well, there are some similarities because I'm using the same 3 scales, but there's some things that I recognize now that in these intros that really helped me in my development as a musician and as a player. Hope you like this. Thanks so much for watching this. Grab the charts below if this is your first visit. Thank you for stopping by. You should subscribe, because Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays I have a new video just like this one, helping guitar players approach a new concept and see what they can come out with that to develop you as a player. This is a channel about you. Thanks for watching this. I'll see you next time.